All right, we have the legendary Professor Griff in the building from one of my favorite groups, rapper otherwise, Public Enemy. How's everything?
Everything's good, man. I'm about the legend part. I'm trying to live up to that. Yeah.
Well, you've lived up to it already, I think. You
Oh,
look
give
great,
thanks.
by the way. I actually looked you up on Wikipedia. You're 56 years old. You look 35.
Oh, thanks, man. But Wikipedia, I wouldn't do Wikipedia, man. Anybody could put anything on Wikipedia. I've read some stuff on Wikipedia about myself. I'm like, that ain't true. Yeah, so we got to talk to those people,
I
man.
feel you. Now, I remember the last time I interviewed Chuck D. This was some years ago, and he was telling me how the two of you had a conversation about how, you guys really looked at each other and just kind of thought about how healthy you were and how, a lot of people, a lot of peers are dying. And, we just talked about how Big Syke just died today. So it's definitely, you're a little bit older than me, but, people in our age range are definitely not living healthy and dying very prematurely.
Yeah, and if you do the research, a lot of them are dying in their 40s, man. Heavy D, Guru,
Yeah.
and a few other people. I'm like, Fife Dog and a few other people. And I don't want to attribute that to the quote unquote entertainment lifestyle. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, that has some contributing factors to it, but I think it's just overall, man, how you think, of course, what you eat, the mental and the physical food. I mean, part and partial, you can't, if we separate the entertainment industry and then we say, okay, the people in the entertainment industry are living long lives and everybody else is dying, I guess that wouldn't be anything to talk about. But because we are in the entertainment industry and aspects of our lives, at least 75% of my life is public, which is a good thing, but for publicity's sake, to advance your career. But that's critical, man, because if I get a dead toothache, half the world knows, and that's not good. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But most
Absolutely.
of those people that have passed on have died in their 40s, man, which is not healthy. Not when the Bible says most
Yeah.
of us live to be 1,000. 40 is nothing.
Right. Now, before you joined Public Enemy, you had something called the Universal Revolutionary Freedom Fighters Society.
Oh, you going back, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was way, that's when I was a teenager.
Right. So talk about
Yeah.
that because it focused on martial arts and everything else like that. So talk about sort of the meaning behind that and how you got into all that.
Well, the concept was to unite all those freedom fighters from around the globe that were still in their youth to come up under one kind of platform. And in that case, since I didn't do a lot of traveling, it was just one mindset. And that was the impetus and the birth to what happened later on in Public Enemy with the S1Ws. Marcus Garvey said one aim, one destiny, one purpose, one God, race first. That was the mindset. So I put together a group of people that got tired of playing little league football and baseball and wanted to do something serious with their lives. Those people became the foundation to this group I put together after that called Unity Force, and then they became the S1Ws.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Before Public Enemy, you were part of the Nation of Islam?
For Public Enemy, I was part of the Nation of Islam, speaking and doing music in a group called Spectrum with Wizard KG from the Bomb Squad. And that's a story that
Okay.
not a lot of people know about. No one talks about. So people think
Okay.
people think Chuck got me and we came and did music. No, Chuck was in the audience while we were doing the music.
Aha.
Right.
And of course, the Bomb Squad is the production company behind Public Enemy.
Exactly. Keith Shockley, Hank Shockley, Eric Sadler, Eric Sadler, and there's a few other people. Yeah.
Okay. So
Johnny Juice did some stuff.
you were actually a rapper in that group?
I never called myself a rapper. I don't even know where that term came from. That's some lollipop bubblegum shit. Rapper? No. I was a revolutionary
Okay.
in music.
But you were a vocalist in the group.
Which group are you talking about?
The group before Public Enemy.
Spectrum City?
Spectrum City, right.
We were all DJs.
Ah, okay. So tell me about how it went from Spectrum City to Public Enemy and how Chuck D and Flavor Flav sort of formed into that whole equation.
Well, it really wasn't a Chuck D Flavor Flav thing. I think that's where it gets twisted. It was a Chuck D thing. Chuck, along with Hank Shockley, which is Keith Shockley's brother. Keith was my partner. Chuck and Hank went to Adelphi, and they had the radio show going at Adelphi University. And that's where we all used to come together and meet like a crew, like, you know, people do all the time. It was Chuck that they offered the deal to, no one else. But he didn't want to sign as Chucky D, which is corny as fuck. But hey, he was like, nah, I'm not doing that. So we just kind of went in the back room, and he created this concept called Public Enemy and kind of brought the parts together. And since we were already working with one another, the parts were already there. I never worked with Flavor. You understand what I'm saying? Very talented brother, but Flavor had the Flavortrons. So
the Flavortrons. I've never heard of this before.
He had the Flavortrons and the little group and crew that used to follow him, and you know, they did things together. Yeah.
Okay. So how did Flavor Flav get into the group then?
Flavor and Chuck used to work a physical job together, moving furniture and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay. So he brought Flav in and he became part of Public Enemy.
Yes. And this is all happening like, you know, real quick. The first Terminator X was my partner, Keith, KG from Spectrum City, part of the Bomb Squad. And then that didn't work out. And then Chuck went and was working with Norman Rogers, which is Terminator X. Right.